For the last 3 days, I've been preparing, physically, mentally, work-wise, for the coming of the great and terrible storm. 6 to 12 inches of snow, they say. And so I diligently cleaned the sidewalks, checked the snowblower, worked my schedule around so that when I got snowed in, I could continue to do my work from home. I was ready. And then I woke up this morning with my world encased with ice. Ice was not in the forecast. Ice was to be south of here. We were supposed to get 6 to 12 inches of snow. I was ready for snow. I was not ready for ice. And my first reaction was to be really ticked off at that meteorologist who had duped me. And when I got finished with him, I began to be angry at myself. Because once again, I had allowed him to dupe me, to set me up, only to be disappointed, at least confused. How easy it is in times of uncertainty like we live in these days to look for answers about the future, whether it's the weather or whether it's politics and the state of the nation, whether it's the economy, whether it's COVID, whether it's where we can find vaccines or not. We want answers. And if somebody is there willing to give us their opinion about what is coming, we're more than willing to listen to them. And when they don't come true, we get angry and frustrated. And when it goes on long enough, we become violent. I guess it's human nature to want to know what's coming. And no matter how many times we're disappointed, we still get caught in the trap. It's the story of the Old Testament, at least that part of the Old Testament that deals with God's people as a nation in those days of Israel and Judah. Time after time, they find themselves in political, economic, and national insecurity, and they look for answers. The court prophets are more than happy to provide the kings with a ready forecast that includes political intrigue, opportune marriages, and wheeling and dealing with foreign powers, all in an effort to be ready. And the kings are more than willing to listen. Meanwhile, God's prophets are singing a different tune. They're reminding the king that God is in charge. He's got this one, if they only listen. What they need to be about is to do their job, to be the shepherd of the people, to feed them, to care for them, to provide safety. If they do that, then it will all shake out in the end. So knock off all the wheeling and dealing. I guess it sounded too much like work. And who knows, we would prefer wheeling and dealing to good old-fashioned hard work any day. And so it was with the kings. They continued their ways. It's why the state of the nation fluctuates like a roller coaster, with very little peace and a whole lot of ups and downs, mostly downs, until they ravaged the nation and create such an unstable environment that when Babylon comes a-calling, there's nothing left to resist with. And the people of God end up in exile, cut off from all that they hold near and dear. The good news is that God doesn't hold a grudge, but rather follows the people into exile, and there invites them once again to change their ways, to turn around and look at life differently. It is not an accident that this is perhaps the most creative period of God's people's history in the Old Testament. Some of the greatest work that they do as a nation comes out of the time of exile. Their thinking, their theology, their practice. They knuckle down and do the hard work, and then return home. And God continues to go with them, where they once again start listening to the voices that promise a new future, a better way. No, we never quite learn, do we? Tomorrow begins the season of Lent, a time of reflection, reconciliation, and reassessment of life. It's an invitation to turn around, to look at life differently, to experience God's grace rather than looking for God's judgment, to begin to do the hard work of rebuilding community within the nation, within our communities, within our churches, within our families, to repair the breaches that these last 2 years have ripped us apart with. It is not easy work. But the forecast that God offers is a whole lot better than 6 to 12 inches of snow. So let's roll up our sleeves and get to work. For in this enterprise, we are not alone, for God goes with us. Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I am tired, I am weak, I am worn. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on to the light. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home. When my way grows drear, precious Lord, linger here. When my life is almost gone, hear my cry, hear my call, hold my hand, lest I fall. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home. When the darkness appears and the night draws near, and the day is past and gone, at the river I stand, guide my feet, hold my hand. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home.